everyone. Welcome again to Sarah Samut Sari. Today, I am not going to show a how to, but instead, I am going to show you and showcase one of my new good friends who happens to be the sister of my classmate from St. Scholastica, Pinky. So, I'm featuring a very, very gifted artist. Her name is Monette, and I would like to introduce you to her. So, Monette, would you like to say a few words about yourself and introduce yourself, please?
Okay. Hi, everybody. I don't know where to start. Let's just say I'm Scholastican. I grew up in Saint Scope. I started there preschool, I think. Oh, no, kindergarten, not preschool. Kindergarten all the way up to high school. And then I went off to college. I went to the College of the Holy Spirit for Fine Arts. And then I dropped out of school. On my third year, I dropped out of school and I spent the next few years dancing. And I'm not sure, not many people know this. So every time I talk about something, they're like, "Oh, did you do this?" Oh, yes, I did all of that. So I was dancing for like the next 5 years. And then when I had a child, I decided I better go back to school because he might graduate ahead of me. So I said, I'm going to go back to school. So I did. I went back to Saint School and I finished my AB English there, and I took some units in education. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can go and teach. So I finished that, and then I went off and I became a teacher in Woodrose. I taught grade school and then high school. Then I left Woodrose and then I taught preschool. And then I started working for, later on, much later on, I started working for another school. I actually worked with the Acacia School. It's a Steiner school. And then after that, I don't know, I just kept doing stuff. Okay. Eventually, I ended up doing graphic design work. And you're probably wondering, okay, how did that happen? Let me just say it happened. Okay, I started doing graphic design work for my cousin. And then eventually, she made it possible because of the work for us to move here to the US. So we lived in Connecticut from 2009. And then we moved here to Massachusetts in 2016, I think, because of my husband's job. And I've been here since in Massachusetts.
That's
There you
great.
go.
So, yeah, wonderful. So, I have been so excited about this collaboration with you, and I really thank Pinky, who was my childhood classmate, and until high school at Saint Scholastica. So we are all Scholasticans, and so I saw she suggested that I feature you, and I have seen your work and I'm so amazed. That's why I'm showcasing Monette in the studio. We, I know that you are using different types of media based on your Instagram account. I just want to know what got you started into your dolls.
Okay, the doll thing has been a lifelong obsession. I've always had dolls, and Pinky hated them. She hates dolls. I mean, she used to be afraid of my dolls, and I'm so upset that they started using dolls for all the horror films. Because I love dolls, but then people think of them as creepy, and I understand some of them are. And I'm a horror film fan, so I've watched them all. But I get upset that they use the dolls. Okay, but I've always loved dolls. I mean, like I collected them, and I've always wanted to make them, but I never knew how. At some point, again, in that very, all the things I did, I made stuffed toys. I did make rag dolls. I mean, it's like something you learn along the way. I think in school, I don't know if I think the handicraft stuff, right?
Yeah, yes.
We used to do, so you learn all these things.
Yep.
And I because I crochet, I used to do dolls in crochet as well, but I never knew how to do the sculpting. That came much later. I was still in Manila when I discovered that there was such a thing as paper clay. Creative paper clay is from Japan. And I think it was in National Bookstore I first saw it, and I said, okay, let me try this. And there were no YouTube videos back then, so I can't even remember how I did it. I'm sure I saw it somewhere. There must have been a book or something. So I started doing it, and it was, when I think of it now, it's like, oh my gosh, they were awful. They were really awful. And I had, back then, I mean, I think I wasn't even in college yet. I think I hadn't taken any classes yet. But when you go to art school, you learn anatomy and everything. And so when I started doing the dolls again, that's when everything kind of clicked in place. I'm like, oh, anatomy class. Oh yeah. I'm remembering proportions. I'm remembering what's underneath the skin. So you think of the skeleton, the muscles, and everything. And I started said, okay, I'm gonna try it with the dolls. And I found paper clay again at Michael's, the craft store here. I think Michael's and Joanne. So they
Yeah.
sell them here everywhere. And they have different kinds now. There's air drying clay that is not necessarily paper clay. And they're made for dolls, for making dolls. They're specifically, like they say they're specifically for doll making. So I started looking, and of course now there's YouTube. So I started watching all of that, and then I found books, and I started reading that, and then I started experimenting. So if you notice, like, I there are some dolls I did that were not anatomically correct, which I like doing because I like caricatures. So if you notice, like some of them, that especially the Manang, she has a
Yeah.
huge head. She has a
Yeah.
huge head, thin limbs, and all that. But with her, it was more the expression that was forefront in my mind. If you notice, she's so dark, and my husband said, "Why is she so dark?" And I'm like, because you know they bake in the sun. I remember images of
Yes.
women, out there, and they're
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
But I think I did make her a bit dark. I had to experiment with color before I
Yeah.
could actually get the right, you know, uh, skin tone. Yeah, I think skin tone's one of the hardest for me because it's never quite. I look at my skin, and I look at the clay, and I look at somebody else, and I'm okay. Do I do that skin tone or my skin tone, or? But I'm very conscious of. I want, like, if I'm doing Pinay, she might as well look Pinay, that kind of
That's
thing.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. And I Monette has kindly agreed to share with us 8 of her dolls. You will see in the video coming after this interview how beautiful and how intricate, and I am amazed by your attention to detail. Um, in particular, like, for example, the first one, Paru Parong Bukid. I was amazed with the outfit, the clothes that you made for the lady in Paru Parong Bukid. But I was in awe of La Bulaquena, which happened to, look like your great grandmother, as you mentioned in your video, and they will find out about this more. Um, so it just goes to show how your imagination like works, and your ability to make the doll movable in La Bulaquena. That's right. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's evolving. It continues to evolve. So I'm just so amazed. Now, in your fourth, I think it's your fourth doll or something. It's called September. I wonder why you chose that as your, you know, so-called title for that doll.
Oh, okay. That was Agnes's idea, Agnes Loxian. Okay, so the choreography is hers, and that doll is actually so her choreography. was a tribute to a lady who used to be I can't remember now. I think she was a directress of CCP. And they called her Tita Bing. And Agnes said when she was working for CCP, that Tita Bing was very kind to her, and that lady got cancer. But she said she was such a so always so happy. She was always so bright and happy, and she was so amazed at how this lady who could have this cancer, ravaging her body, still be so gracious. And I
Yeah.
think so she when she passed away, CCP asked her if Agnes, if she could do a tribute, and then so she choreographed the last four songs by Strauss. And I think this particular segment was called September. So
Right.
when she showed me the video, then I said, so when she's this is what happens with Agnes. She sends me videos of her choreography. Then I start taking screenshots, and then I'll say, Agnes, I want to do this. I want to do this particular post, from whatever
Yeah.
screenshots I get. And
Yep.
then she'll tell me all about it. So when I took the picture of that of September, she said, "Oh, this is the one I did." And she told me the story, and then she said, "It's called September." So I
Right.
said, "Perfect. Let's call it September." So that's
Okay.
how the September got there. Yeah, but if you notice I think I'll explain it there about how rough it is and all,
Yes.
because yeah, I think I did
Yep.
that. So I'm not gonna repeat because they'll just get
Yeah.
your
So that
audience
they
will
can
get
watch
bored.
it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the ones that you did collaboration a collaboration with Agnes, right? Agnes Loxin are what Lament, what swing swing the flag? Is
Oh,
that?
sewing the flag.
Oh,
Did I
sewing the
spell?
flag. Sorry about that. Yeah, sewing
Yeah.
the flag, September, and is Cinderella one of them as well?
Oh no, Cinderella was from a class. When I
Ah,
started
yeah.
doing polymer clay, yeah, I said I need to take a class because I want to see how it's different when you're just experimenting. But then you start thinking, why am I
Yeah,
reinventing the wheel? I mean, these people
yeah,
already know, right? So I can
exactly.
skip a whole bunch of stuff and save
Yeah.
myself some clay
Yep.
and all that. Yeah, so I did that. So Cinderella was really from a class, and she didn't start out as Cinderella. I had no idea what she was gonna be, except
Yeah.
that I was just making, the doll,
Yeah.
and yeah. Then when the teacher said, "Okay, it's up to you how you want to dress them up," so I
Yep.
just said, "Okay, I'll just do Cinderella because it's the first thing that came in my head, and I
Yeah.
figured okay, I'll do that." But that wasn't Agnes. I did the three with Agnes. I'm doing a fourth actually for her at the moment. Only because I wasn't happy with one of them. I said, Agnes, now that I'm looking at the sewing the flag, I want to redo something. I want to do it over. So she said, "You don't have to. I like it the way it
Yeah.
is." But I said, "No,
Yeah.
I want to do it in polymer clay because that was paper clay. I want to try it in polymer clay, and I want something bigger." So
Yep.
that's what I'm working on now. The ones you've been seeing recently on Instagram, the limbs, the one
Yes.
my husband called a crime. My husband calls them crime scenes.
They should
Yeah,
all be.
because you have like body parts, right?
Yes.
He
No,
said,
it's
"You know what? Yeah." He goes, "Next time, I think I'm gonna do the thing. When they draw around the dead body, that, and I'll take
oh yeah.
shots of that." Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's amazing because every time I see your work, you know, I'm just blown away really.
Thank you.
Um Yeah, because the other thing that I wanted to stress is that, with regards to your collaboration with Agnes for three of the dolls, um, she also works with you with regards to the poses, right? Like, the hand and the feet, and that's
Oh yeah.
really really amazing. And the last two dolls are, for me, they're like action dolls because they're like the pose is just like especially the last one, Lament, that's going down
Yeah.
the stairs. That one, I was hoping that you would include that because I wanted to give you a free hand on which ones you wanted to feature. And that was, to me, uh, a different type of doll because it's the action, the hand and all that. And I thought, oh, this is amazing. So before we feature your video, I just want to ask you, which one amongst the eight dolls is your favorite?
It's kind of hard. You know how every one of them's like your baby.
Yeah.
Um, I actually have two. So
Okay.
one is the Labula Kenya, because
Yes.
again it was unexpected, and because I liked how I was challenged to do the details, and I didn't have. Here's a tidbit for you, a trivia. Her skirt, I painted her skirt because I couldn't find the fabric that I needed. And then I couldn't find the right fabric to paint on. So I found an old shower curtain. Not no, not even a shower curtain, the liner. The shower
Right.
curtain liner,
Liner.
because it had to look like it was like silky, it was like it had a sheen. So her skirt was actually from an old shower curtain. I don't throw anything away. I'm like a hoarder because I keep thinking I can use that. I can use that. I can use
Yes.
that for something, and I like to recycle. So that was so I love that. And again, because her top was also the handkerchief of my husband that are
Yes.
the paru parung bukid and La Bulakenya came the tops. Their tops came from the same handkerchief that my husband had for our wedding. And
Wow.
yeah, it was from our wedding. It's like, so I said, "Are you ever gonna use this?" Because I needed the fabric. I didn't have who's here or anything like that. I mean, who has who's here, especially here, you
Yeah.
know. So I said, "Are you gonna use this?" And he said, "No, of course not." I go, "Okay, can I use it?" And he goes, "Sure." So I'm just happy that I would manage like two doll tops out of that one hanky. So yeah, and also because for La Bula Kenya, I was able to kind of mimic the embroidery, on the husi and everything. I just
Yeah.
enjoy doing it. It was fun. Um, of course, the other one will be lament.
See? Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
love because again the challenge of the stairs. I'm so proud of my stairs. I'm so proud of my stairs.
You should be.
And
You should.
because I'd never done it, I was just so happy. So I featured it there, and then also because if you see that, I don't know um if it's out somewhere in YouTube, but Agnes shared the choreography with me. And to me, it was a very, very powerful piece of work. I just, I told her, you know what, the whole time I was watching it, I was holding my breath. I was like, just,
Oh,
just holding
wow.
my breath. Yes, because it's a whole, when the setting is like the Spanish times, and then
Yeah.
of course, that how do you call that, the clash between the friars and the people because
Yeah.
religion.
Yep.
But you have the encantada. It's from the ballet encantada. So you have this people, the encantada, it's just like mother nature, and then how the gorgeous civil, at some point they ravage, nature and everything, and she gets upset, and they show like the rape, the rape of the women who were taking
Yep.
care of the woods and everything. And that's when she was crying because she was watching them getting killed and getting raped, and all these things. That's why you see her, with her face like that. She couldn't
Yeah.
do anything. And
Yeah.
the story is she starts crying and crying, crying, so much so that the water, from her tears, they start to flood the place. And
Wow.
yeah, that's the story. And so the friars and the guardia civil, they get swept away, by her
Wow.
tears. But when you see it happening, and when you see the part where they kind of like get their vengeance, it's kind of scary because you have the hair, the
Yeah.
hair, and then they're doing the movements that are a bit scary, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's just a very, very powerful piece of art. I wish they'd show it. I hope Agnes shares it one more. She did. I think she put it on YouTube at some point. But of course, it's just people who know her and people who are friends on her um how do you call that? Her account, right? People you're
Yeah.
friends with who'd see it, but not everybody. It's just a beautiful,
Right.
beautiful piece of work. So yeah, and making it was such an honor,
Yeah.
and I loved how she let me just go and do it.
Oh,
She's like,
you know,
go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you'd ask me which one was my favorite, it's difficult to choose. But the reason why I like Lament is, Monette, you captured the movement and the expression, and I've never seen or met somebody who has done that, because it reminds me of the dioramas in Ayala Museum. Your work reminds me of that,
I
but
love those. I used to
I
go
know,
there just for that, just for that, just for the
I know,
dioramas.
I know. That's why I thought, oh, I gotta feature your work. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
I will let our viewers um, watch your work, and we will get back to you after the video. Okay.
Okay.
Paru Parung Bukid was one of the first sculpts, one of the first art dolls I'd ever made. This one was made of paper clay, and really what I wanted to do was just to dress up a doll, because that's basically why I love making dolls, because I like making the clothes. For this one, I used Husi for her top, which is actually from a handkerchief of my husband's. But since nobody really uses Husi handkerchiefs, it was for a wedding, and he allowed me to cut it up and use it. La Bula Kenya was one of the sculpts that came accidentally. I had a head and I didn't quite know what to do with it. It hadn't been shaped or anything. I just had a head. And then when I started doing the face, I realized it sort of resembled my great grandmother's portrait, which was done by Juan Luna. I still had remnants of that Husi handkerchief I used for Paru Parung Bukid, so I kind of tried to find pieces of it that I could use for this, for her top, and then I just drew on it with a fabric marker. She's also got a movable head, unlike the Paru Parung Bukid, which is like static, so she can look left, right, up and down. And she's also sculpted from cosclay, and her hair is synthetic, which I think I regret it a bit, because synthetic hair is much harder to work with than the alpaca I normally use. The Manang sculpt is made of paper clay. I wasn't after proportion or anything. This was an experiment in texture. So I just pressed on the paper clay, whatever fabric or towels, stones, and everything. So that's what I did for this sculpt. It was a fun sculpt. I enjoyed making her and the cat. Before she became Cinderella, this sculpt was from a class with Tatiana Malushkina. I wanted to learn how to use polymer clays, particularly the skin-toned ones. Her body is fabric. It's stuffed with wood shavings. I used my old linen towels for her clothes, and an old sack that rice came in for the sacks. September is actually the second in the series I had made for Agnes Luxton. This is polymer clay, but I chose to not smoothen the surface because it was it depicts actually a person who had been suffering from cancer. So part of the agony to me was not having her all neatly and smoothly done. Sewing the Flag is not even the official title of this. I had no title. I just wanted to capture the choreography of Agnes's La Revolution Filipina and the women sewing the flag. I just fell in love with how they were moving. So I wanted to do this. And this is all paper clay, except for the clothes. Her skirt and that scarf is actually made from mulberry paper. This is, of course, the stairs I used for Lament. Lament is from Encantada, and she's also made of polymer clay. Her clothes are mulberry paper. For her hair, I made sure not to use synthetic material. I used the alpaca fiber from an alpaca named Rocky, and I think it worked pretty well. The clothes, I also had to use fabric paint just to capture the embroidery that was on the original costume.
So there you have it, everyone. It has certainly been a pleasure to feature and showcase Monette and her beautiful dolls. Thank you very, very much, Monette, for allowing me to have a collaboration with you. I just want to know now, what are your future plans with regards to your work? I know you're making more dolls based on your Instagram account. Will you continue making dolls or will you be using other media? What are your future plans?
Um, I guess the dolls will be happening for some time. Like I told you, I'm actually working on more right now. Then I have the ones I put in used candle jars.
Oh,
You've seen
yes.
that also on Instagram, yeah. So I have those, but because I like to do different things, so it's possible, in between, I could be doing other stuff. What
Yeah.
happens usually with me is I have, like, in the daytime I'd be doing the dolls, then at night when it's like my downtime and I'm watching the news or what binging on something, I'm usually working on an embroidery or I'm knitting
Yeah.
something. So I have
Yeah.
a lot of projects that actually happen simultaneously, and
Right.
I also like sewing, so I I do a lot of things. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, so and at my age it's like you feel like you want to get things done
Right.
because, you know, right? I'm 62 now. And I just want to do the things that I never had time to do before,
Yes.
kids and school and work and
Yeah.
everything. And so now, um, I just want to do the dolls that I've always wanted to do, and I'll probably be selling some of them
Yeah.
soon because, I'm running out of places to put them in the house.
I think
What?
yeah, I think your dolls in those bottles will really be very saleable because and they're beautiful. So, if thank you for allowing us to be with Monette in the studio. So
My pleasure.
if you guys would like to follow Monette, I will give her Instagram account in the description below. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and
Yes.
follow, yeah, and subscribe. I will be showcasing more artists, and but I have been really privileged to be able to feature Monette again. Monette, thank you so much, and all the best. And I am
Thank you.
always following and looking at your posts on Instagram. So thank you, Monette, and
Thank you, Sarah. I had fun. This is the first time I ever did this, so thank you. I really had fun. It was really, you made it so easy and comfortable to do this.
oh,
Thank you.
that's good. That's great. Okay. Thank you again. And Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye. And thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.